Hey y'all, it's your girl Kiafa with Creations by Kiafa and Kiafa's Got Blanks. And this video that I'm going to be doing right now is showing you how to sub on a tumbler. Let's get into it. This is the tumbler I'll be using. It is a 20 ounce skinny straight tumbler. And the measurements, let me grab my measuring tape. First thing you want to do is measure it. So my width around I'm gonna say about 9.5. It's like 9.2, but I'm gonna just say 9.5 to give it that bleed room. So 9.5 width around. Oh, I can't put it that big because I don't have my image. So 9.5 width. And length is 8 inches. So I'm going to say about 8.3. So 9.5 and 8.3. 9.5, 8.3. 9.5, 8.3. Okay. Just writing it down so I remember that. And I'm going to do my silhouette. This is what I'm using, Silhouette Business Edition. It does cost about 40 bucks, but it can be used for anything. And even if you want to use your Cricut, you can still design in Silhouette Studio. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, my paper size that I'm going to be using to sub on is my 8.5 by 14. That's all I have right now. So that's why I'm using that paper. So you want to go to your page setup first in Silhouette. And you want to make sure that your measurements are correct. So my paper size is 8.5 by 14. But for this particular tumbler, just for this particular project, I'm going to use the landscape orientation. And let me show you why. I'm using landscape because if I use portrait, then it's going to wrap around, but it's going to leave space. If I use landscape, that means it's turning my paper this way. And so it'll wrap all the way around and I'll actually have some room to cut and I can use this for something else. So I'll just put a whole nother image on here and use that for something else. Okay. So let me take you back to my, so as you can see, I can close this out now. Okay. So let me show you something real quick. The portrait orientation is going to have it, fit the whole size. The print border covers the whole paper the long way. But when I go to landscape, it turns my paper sideways. So now I have to adjust my print border to make sure that that's correct. So I can delete this. I mean, not delete it, but I can close that out. I'm going to go to File so I can grab the image that I'm going to use. And I'm going to go to Merge. And I'm going to use this photo right here, my 80s collage. I'm going to click OK. So as you can see, it brings it to the screen, but it's not the right orientation for the paper that I'm using. The image is not landscape, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to click my image. I'm going to go here where I can change my measurements. And remember I said that the width was 9.5. And the height, I'm going to say is like 8.3, just to give it some bleed room. See? And it takes my my image down to the size. Now, it's still a little bit off. So let me see. Let me go into my settings for my printer. So I'm going to click my print. And it cut off a little bit of the design, but that's okay. Because you still get the full image. Okay. Now what I'm going to do down here where I have all this empty space. Well, first let me go check my settings before I do that. Let me go to check my settings. So it knows that I'm using 8.5 by 14. So that's cool. I can hit OK. Now, why did it just bring it down? I don't like when it does that. I'm not sure why it does that. So let me go to print and see if this changes anything. So it's on my 2720. It found the printer. I'm going to go to preferences. The paper size 8.5 by 14. Okay. And I have to change my orientation to landscape so that it matches. I'm going to do the type of paper I have. I'm going to do plain paper, bright white. It's in color. And I have to mirror my image. So I'm going to go to more options. And I'm going to go down here to mirror image. Otherwise, it'll come out backwards when I press it. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit apply. Now, the only thing that I don't like is the fact that it brought my print border down. So now it's making my print area even smaller. Now, why does it do that? I'm going to go back to setting. No, this is right. Let me see if I hit borderless, what happens. Oh, okay. I think that's what it's supposed to be. Okay. But what I forgot to do was add another image. I'm going to stretch it just a little bit more so that there we go. Okay. And then I'm going to grab another image to fill in the extra space on my paper because I don't want to waste any paper. So I'm going to go to File again, Merge, and I'm going to grab, let's try Bart. See what happens with that. So what I'm going to do is I have to make him the correct size for this little area right here. So I'm going to shrink him down. Bring it back up. Still too big. Definitely don't want it to cover up this image here. I'm going to narrow it in a little bit. And then I'm going to bring it down a little bit, stretch him down to the border. Okay. I don't really have to mirror him. I can, but whether he's printed, you know, either way, it'll still work. But I'm going to flip him horizontally so that way he's mirrored now. So I don't have to go in my settings and mirror him. Okay? So now I'm going to go to, oh, you know what? Let me flip him back horizontally because my whole image is not mirrored yet. So I can go to File, Print. Okay, so everything is everything. I'm going to go, let me just check settings. Okay, I'm going to go to print. I can cancel this out. I'm going to go to print, 2720, preferences, just to make sure everything is everything. 8.5 by 14, landscape, plain paper white, color. I'm going to go to more options. Mirror, image is already mirrored, so I can press OK. I've already clicked apply. Everything is what it's supposed to be. So now I'm going to click print. So this is my little printing station over here. Let me put my paper in. So it should be ready to go because all the settings are correct. Yep. If your settings, as far as your print settings, is gonna sound like it's gonna start printing, and then it's gonna stop and say, basically it's gonna tell you your settings don't match. So that's what that is right now. So I'm gonna pause the video for a second, and I'm gonna come back when the printing is done. Oh, it's all, it's done. Just about. Hold on. Okay, that actually printed pretty fast. So this is everything that was printed. So I'm just gonna cut this. And I'm gonna use that for something else. I don't know what yet, but I'm definitely gonna be using that for something else. Don't ever waste paper, even if you have to print little bitty tiny stuff that you can just use as fillers on another project. You know, don't waste it. Don't waste your paper. Sublimation paper is not cheap, okay? Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, oh, you know what, let me cut off all the borders. Now, I don't know why it's not printing all the way to the edge of my paper. That's something else that I'll have to look into. I'm not a pro at sublimation. Like, I know how to do it, but some of this printer stuff. So I guess I should say I'm good at doing sublimation, but I got to learn how to get these printer settings 100% accurate. I don't know if that's what all the printers do, but I feel like that's still a lot of paper being wasted because it doesn't print all the way to the very edge of my paper. So that's something else I have to look into. That'll be a whole nother video. Because there are a lot of videos out there that show you. I just haven't found one that shows me exactly what to do about these little bit of, you know, scraps that are left. So, how does my image go? Oh, this way. Okay. So this is the image. Here's my tumbler. Simply going to wrap it around. And as you can see, everything touches. So therefore, you won't have any space, you know, empty blank space left between the ends of your image. So it's actually overlapping. And if you overlap the space that is overlapping, you're actually going to see a little bit of a difference in color along the seam where the paper is overlapping. So you want to try to get it as close as possible without it overlapping. And it could be a little tricky, but it can be done. So I'm just going to put it together. Give it like a fold at the crease where I can see that it won't have, because that ink, you don't want that ink to, you know, make it look, you want it to be even all the way around. You want your image to be even all the way around in regard to the ink. It can get a little tedious at times because you want to make sure everything is right. But once you get it, you've got it. It's like, you know, riding a bike. But next time I can make it work better in my measurements. So I had it going 9.5 around. I could have maybe just did 9.1 or something like that. Just, you know, you got to kind of play with it. And once you figure out those numbers, write them down so that you'll always know your measurements for this particular item is this. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to cut off this little extra flap. Okay. Wrap it again. Okay. So now it's like barely overlapping. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my my heat tape on it, because otherwise, if I cut too much, I'm going to have blank, you know, empty space in between my image. Like it won't be seamless. So, and you want it to try to get, you know, get it as seamless as you possibly can. So I'm just going to add a few pieces of heat tape across and then one down. So I'm going to pause this while I do that, and I'll be right back because I'm running out of space on my phone and I don't want to be able to, I want to be able to finish this video. So hold on a second. Okay, so I got it all taped up now. So I taped the bottom to make sure you want it to be tight as possible. So while it's heating, that ink will soak into your sublimation item. Okay, so now all I'm gonna do is put this in my convection oven. Mine is an Oster. I got it from Walmart for like $45. It's turbo. It's the turbo one. I'm gonna put it on turbo. I use it at 350, and I usually do maybe like 3 minutes, but I flip it. So I might do like a minute and a half, and then turn it over and do another minute and a half. You know, or there's like I told you when I did the subbing on my shirt, it's like a certain like amount of smoke that I'll see coming, and I know, okay, it's about that time, because you will see a little smoke because it's cooking. You know what I'm saying? So once you get to know your sublimation oven or your your convection oven, or you get to know your heat presses, you'll know the smell, or you'll know the feel, or you'll just kind of know when it's time to take it off the press or take it out of the convection oven. So I'm going to put it in the convection oven now, and then I'm going to come back and do the reveal so you guys can see how it came out. Okay, be right back. Okay, so now I've warmed up my oven. I'm going to put in my tumbler this way so that I know when I'm ready to turn it over, this is my midpoint. So go ahead and slide that in. It's hot, so be careful. Close that on up and let it cook. And I'll be back. All right, so we are getting ready to reveal it. I let it cool down some. It's too hot right now. Take one of these gloves off. My camera is about to go out, so I'll be right back, you guys. All right, and here we have it, the finished product. And this is, dang, I can't even tell what the seam is. Oh, this is, but you can barely see it because it was dang near perfect. So that's that. Only thing I probably will do next time is bring it down lower. But Yeah, I'm happy with this. So that's how you sub on a tumbler.